All right, here we are finding the general solution to this differential equation right here. X double prime minus 2x prime minus 8x equals negative cosine of 3t. So the first thing we're going to do is find our xc. In order to find our xc, we're going to do a characteristic equation. Remember, xc is the solution to x double prime minus 2x prime minus 8x equals to 0. So our r squared equation, our characteristic equation, is r squared minus 2r minus 8 is equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that because it looks pretty factorable. I get r minus 4 times r plus 2 equals 0, which gives me r equals 4 comma negative 2. That tells me that the xc for this one is c1 e to the 4t plus c2 e to the negative 2t. So I'm going to kind of hold on to that for later. I do want to compare the pieces of this to see if there's linear dependence issues with the cosine of 3t. And since these are exponentials with real numbers, and this is a cosine, there's no problem there. So I don't have to do anything special with extra t's or anything like that. So next thing I'm going to do is find my xp. To do my xp, I set up and I guess my way into what I need to use. So I know I need a cosine of 3t, and I also need a b sine of 3t. As we're doing these things, we need to consider all of the things that this could derive to until it either repeats or the derivatives go away. So that in this case is just cosine of 3t and sine of 3t. So next thing I'm going to do is find xp prime, just take the derivative of this line. That gives me negative 3a sine of 3t plus 3b cosine of 3t. I'll find xp double prime as well. I'm left with a negative, again, now it's 9a, and we're back to a cosine of 3t. And then this time I get a negative from the derivative cosine. So negative 9 times b times sine of 3t. So from here, I've got a 1, I've got a 2, and I've got a negative 8. This line gets the 1 because it's the double prime right here. What goes with that right there. This needs to be multiplied by negative 2 because of that negative 2. And this needs to be multiplied by negative 8. And I'm going to add them all up and set them equal to this right-hand side right here. So what do we get? I'm going to go in the order in which this is. So I'm actually going to go this piece, then 2 times this piece, then the negative 8 times this piece. So what do I get? I get negative 9a cosine of 3t minus 9b sine of 3t. That is negative 9 times, or sorry, that is 1 times this line right here. Next, I get negative 2 times this line. So that winds up giving me a double negative on this first piece. So I get a plus 6a sine of 3t. And then when I multiply negative 2 by this, I get a minus 6b with a cosine of 3t. Just give myself some more space here. And then I need to do negative 8 times that top line. So I'm going to have minus 8 times a cosine of 3t. And then I'm going to have minus 8b times sine of 3t. And the last thing I need to do is that's this xp plugged through the left-hand side of this equation. I want to figure out the xp that is going to give me this negative 3 cosine of 3, or negative cosine of 3t. So this right here needs to come right there. So I'm going to set that equal to negative cosine of 3t. So from here, let me get some good colors. I've got some cosine terms, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I'm going to turn those into an equation. I've got minus 9a, so my cosine equation, cosine of 3t, is, all right, so I got minus 9a, that's this one, cross it out, and then minus 6b, it's this one, and then minus 8a, that's this one, is equal to -1. The reason I got rid of my cosines is you could imagine me saying minus 9a cosine of 3t, minus 6b cosine of blah, 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 equals this, and then just dividing by cosine. Remember that a and b are constants. A is a number, b is a number. There's nothing that I'm going to multiply a by to get this piece out. So these pieces, the pieces that are underlined in green, are independent from the ones that are not underlined yet. So that's why I can make it into its own equation. The next thing I'm going to do is, let's go blue. So I've got this and this and this. And notice there is no sine term over there. So it's kind of like having 0 sine of 3t. So same thing, I'm going to do it down here. I am going to make a sine of 3t equation. That gives me, all right, minus 9b plus 6a, and then minus 8b is equal to 0. So from here, we'll go back to purple. I'm going to turn this into a matrix. For me, I prefer to turn these systems, and actually before I do that, let me simplify this a little bit. So the green has, I've got a minus 9a and a minus 8a. So that's going to leave me with a minus 17a, and then a minus 6b is equal to -1. We could manipulate that with negatives, but I'm just going to roll with it like that because it's easy to do that and to put that into my calculator. And then this one gives me a positive 6a, and then a minus 17b is equal to 0. So that right there is what I'm going to turn into a matrix. I guess we'll flip back to red. So that is going to come down over here. And my matrix is going to be -17. This is my cosine line. This is my sine line. This is A. This is B. So -17, -6, positive 6, -17. I draw my augmented bar, and then I write my -1 and my 0. I go over to my calculator. I RREF this. So I'll demo that. So I pop over to here. If you take a look, well, hold on one moment. There, now we can see both. So I've already put this into my matrix. I just go second x inverse, takes me into the matrix menu. Go over to edit. There it is right there. -17, -6, -1, 6, -17, and 0. So I put that in. I quit. I go back into the matrix menu. Go over to math. I like to roll around the top to get to RREF, reduced row echelon form. And then I go back into the matrix menu, pull up matrix A, and hit enter. So I got these really messy, terrible decimals. But fortunately, I can math frac this thing. I hit the math button there. I frac it. Boom. And I get these right here. So that's 17 over 325 and 6 over 325. So you can see I now have A equal to the 17 over 325 and B equal to the 6 over 325. Those are the A and the B values for my XP, which I think I can grab here. Copy. Put it here. Boom. So this is going to slide in right here, and the B is going to slide in right there. And then from there, I just need to take my full solution because it said to find the general solution. X of t is xc plus xp, which in this case is, I'm going to take this xc. So it's c1 e to the 4t plus c2 e to the -2t plus, all right, the A value is 17 over 325, and then I need to multiply that by cosine of 3t. And then I take my 6 over 325, and I multiply that by sine of 3t. And that's my solution. So I can box it, boink. And we've used undetermined coefficients to find the general solution to this equation right here. Peace.